you guys. Welcome back to the podcast. Excuse my voice. I am sick as a fucking dog right now. I'm not sure what I have going on, but it has taken me down and out the last couple of days. But today I was like, I have got to get up and get moving. And I've had this message on my heart that I have wanted to share with you for quite a while now. So I'm excited that we're here and that we're doing this. We are going to unpack how to stop body comparison, comparing your body to a smaller version of yourself, a past version of yourself, and how to stop comparing your body to others. It can be such a vicious and toxic cycle to be in. It's life draining. Comparison is the life thief. And I want to talk about some of the things that I did to get out of that habitual cycle of comparison. There were times when Facebook would remind me of a memory 5 years ago, 7 years ago, or iCloud would remind me of a memory, and it would pop up on my phone a picture from when I was standing on stage when I was competing in bikini competitions and my body was the leanest it had ever been. And the feeling I used to get in those moments was almost soul crushing. And the thoughts would race through my head. What's wrong with you? How could you let yourself go? Look at what you had accomplished at one point when I lost weight. Look at what you did and look at where you're at now. How could you let yourself get to this point? So if you get caught in the cycle of comparing yourself to your past body or your body before you had kids or before you got into that relationship, or you're comparing your body to your sibling or to your friends or to your mother or whomever it might be, these 5 tips that I'm going to unpack today, I think will be very supportive in helping you get out of those cycles. I know how frustrating body comparison can be and how much joy and how much presence and how much life it takes from us. So that's what we're going to unpack today. I'm excited. If you haven't yet signed up for my newsletter, my VIP list, this is where I'm going to share exclusive tips, tricks, hacks for overcoming binge and emotional overeating, body image challenges. Stuff that I'm not going to share anywhere else is going to be available to my VIP email list subscribers. It's totally for free. If you haven't done it yet, you just go to www.jessie, jean.com/VIP. You can put your email in and we'll be email besties. I would love to have you as part of my email crew. But let's dive in, all right? So if you've got a journal, if you've got a pen, or if you've got your phone, I would write these steps down because if you practice them, it will be transformative in these cyclical patterns of comparison. And life is way too short to continue to stay in these super fucking toxic loops. Like, it's time to learn how to get out of this once and for all. So step number 1 is simply to acknowledge your inner critic. Acknowledge that you have a harsh inner critic at times. You have a harsh, judgmental, inner voice that's comparing your body now to a smaller version of yourself or to, somebody else's body. Just acknowledge that it's there without judgment. So how do we do that? For example, when Facebook reminds me of memories from 8 years ago when I'm, was competing in bikini competitions and the pictures of my very lean, muscular body pop up and my head wants to go to, wow, you looked so much better then. That's when your husband met you. I wonder what he thinks about your body now. How could you let yourself get this way? Why did you become inconsistent with working out? What's wrong with you? You lost your drive. You lost your discipline. Whatever that harsh inner critic wants to say. Instead of beating myself up that dialogue is running, I just go, okay, I acknowledge that those are some thoughts that I'm having, but I'm going to choose right now whether or not I want to continue down that slippery mental slope or if I want to consciously pivot my focus onto something else. And I think it's underrated and it's so easy to say, but it's really a mental discipline that I would encourage you to take up and to practice, because the better you get at being able to mentally pivot when you're noticing the thoughts that are swirling around in your head don't serve you and aren't allowing you to feel your best, the more you're going to be able to create in life, the more you're going to be able to move towards your goals, the better you're going to feel. And so when I have those thoughts, I go, okay, yep, I'm not going to judge it. I'm just noticing I'm having harsh inner thoughts right now. And instead of continuing to go down that mental loop and spiral, and sometimes we want to, and we have to acknowledge that we often feel addicted to beating ourselves up and going down. We feel like we're worthy of it. We feel addicted to just going down these toxic places in our mind. And the mental discipline is really going, okay, this doesn't make me feel good. This isn't productive or proactive. I'm not going to judge that it's happening, but I am going to shift my focus right now. And what I'm going to shift my focus onto are things in the present moment that are bringing me joy or putting a smile on my face. Recently, my therapist said that his gratitude practice, he was telling me there's been a lot of research done around gratitude practices and how powerful they are in shifting the way we feel on a day-to-day basis, how powerful they are for our mental health. But he said he has a hard time relating to a gratitude practice in a traditional sense. So instead of, thinking about things that you're grateful for, he said he often feels like when he thinks about gratitude, he thinks about like things he feels like he should be grateful for, like a roof over his head and a good job and this, that, and whatever. And he said instead of thinking about a gratitude practice that way, he likes to think about it in terms of things that are currently bringing him joy or putting a smile on his face. And for me, that was like a light bulb moment. I was like, whoa, I can get down with that. And so in the present moment, this is step one, acknowledge that you have an inner critic without judgment. Just notice that it's there. The negative voice, you're comparing your body to somebody else's or to, a past self. And in that moment, can we have the mental discipline to go, this doesn't serve me. I'm going to choose not to marinate on these thoughts right now. And instead, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to focus on 2 to maybe 3 things that currently are bringing me joy or putting a smile on my face. So what are those things? A couple of those things in my life right now are house projects. I've been learning how to use a power drill. I've been learning how to, I hung a TV by myself. I painted a wall by myself. I used painter's tape and painter's caulk, and I just had the straightest line, and I felt so badass doing these house projects. And those are things that are bringing me a genuine sense of joy right now. So being able to shift out of that toxic comparison to our old self onto things that are putting a smile on our face, that are genuinely making us happy right now, can shift our energy. Now, step 2, send gratitude to your past self, but don't look at your past self with blinders on. Remember the whole picture. So when those memories would pop up on my phone, or I would see, those pictures of myself when I was really lean, and those thoughts would start to pop into my head, like, how come you let yourself go? Or I see, friends of mine who, I competed with in the fitness industry, and they're still very into fitness. And, I just see where their bodies are at now, and I'm tempted to want to compare myself to them. Instead, I send gratitude to that season of my life because I want to be grateful for all of the seasons of my life. But instead of looking at that season of my life with blinders on, I want to remember the whole picture and the reality of competing and the reality of where I was at in that time of my life as I was drowning in an eating disorder. I was neurotic with food. I had so much anxiety with food. I was obsessive compulsive when it came to food. I like the whole picture. If I look at the whole picture, my entire identity was in fitness and was in nutrition. And I had very little time for other areas of my life and very little time to connect with people. I didn't have a social life, hardly at all. I was very short-tempered with those around me. I didn't have my period. My hair was falling out. My skin was breaking out. I was not healthy. Even though I looked lean and I was thin, I had so much anxiety with food. Right? I maybe looked, quote unquote, what diet culture deems is healthy, but really health and size aren't synonymous with one another. I was very unhealthy. And so I can send gratitude to my past self and go, I'm thankful for what she has grown through. But the reality is I don't want to lose sight of the whole picture. And the whole picture is when I was in a smaller body, there was a lot of other things going on as well. And so instead, I'm going to shift my focus back on to things that are currently bringing me joy and putting a smile on my face. And then step number 3, think about this. What did you allow yourself to do or experience in a smaller body that you're not allowing yourself now? Or what do you think someone else is allowed to do or experience or have that's in a different body than yours that you're comparing yourself to, that you're thinking that you're not allowed to have in the body that you have now? That's step 3. Think about that. So when you're getting caught in the comparison, what do you think they have? Or what do you think you were allowed to have or you were allowed to feel when you were in a smaller body that you're not giving yourself now? We'll be right back after a quick word from today's sponsor, which is the Food Freedom Online Program 2.0. It's a 4-month online program that is designed specifically for the overstimulated, the stretched thin, the busy individual who feels like they've tried just about everything to stop the patterns of binge and emotional overeating. And when we're on that journey of healing our relationship with food and our body, it can be so encouraging and so motivating to hear the stories and the successes and the momentum that others who are on that same journey have created. So Food Freedom Online Program client Taylor has given us permission to share this audio clip that she shared privately with us for your encouragement. When we asked her if we could share this, she said, "The program has absolutely changed my life. Yes, you can share."
I'm a bit over a month in and I just can't believe the transformation that has happened. I have not binged since I started, and I'm the type of person, like, I really put in the work, and this is coming from someone who was binging every single day for months on end, like could not stop. I mean, it's just not only about the binging, but like it's just changed my quality of life.
Honestly, it never gets old to hear these types of messages and testimonies from Food Freedom Online Program clients, because I know the ripple effect that healing a dysfunctional relationship with food and your body has, not only for the individual, but for those around you, for your family, for your children, for your future. If you're ready to step out of that feeling of being stuck, out of survival mode, and into greater peace and clarity and natural balance with food, where you begin to no longer even feel the urge or the desire to engage in emotional overeating or binge eating, you can go to www.foodfreedomonlineprogram.com to check out the details. We'll also put the link in the show notes. Do you think that you're only allowed to date or to be deemed attractive or to be a part of a certain social group or to have certain opportunities or to have the respect of others when you're in a smaller body or a different body? What thoughts are running through your head? What ideas do you have that are attached to being in a smaller body? What experiences do you think are only reserved for those in a smaller body or a more attractive body or a more curvaceous body, or whatever you think it is that you don't have? What are some of those experiences, some of those thoughts, some of those things that you think are only reserved for those or your past self in a different body? Think about that. Bring those thoughts into focus and then ask yourself, and just be straight up honest with yourself, do you really think that you're only allowed to date or have opportunity or to be respected or to be deemed attractive if your body is different? Do you really believe that to be true? Or potentially, could you be standing in your own way from allowing certain things into your life because you don't believe you're worthy in the body that you have now? And this is a tough question to grapple with, because we see evidence all around us that smaller equals better, thinner equals better, or curvy equals more attractive, or whatever it is. We see evidence all around us because we have society and the media and diet culture that are pushing these ideas. But what we have to start realizing is that oftentimes we are actually the ones who are not stepping into or opening ourselves up or allowing certain experiences or certain things into our life because we don't feel we're worthy in the body that we have now. And if we started to practice a greater sense of self-worth and self-belief, knowing that we're so much more than our body, and we went on that date, or we allowed ourselves to go out to happy hour with the girls in the body that we have now, or we bought the dress in the size we are now instead of trying to get to a certain size before we deemed ourselves worthy of wearing the thing. When we start to prove to ourselves by taking action that our body is worthy, that we are worthy of all of these experiences that we somehow think are only available in a smaller size, it really starts to shatter this belief that being smaller is the only way to find more confidence, more joy, more happiness, more fulfillment. And again, that's not to say you can't have fitness goals or aesthetic goals, but the reality is, do you want to wait until your body looks a certain way to have joy, to have fulfillment, to go on a date, to have these experiences, to wear the dress, to to live your life? Do you really want to wait for your body to look a certain way to live your life? And this brings me to tip number 4, and that is life is full of ups and downs. Things do not always progressively get better, but that doesn't mean you're doing life wrong. It's life. We somehow have this very pressure and anxiety inducing idea that things are always or should always progressively be getting better. Our bank accounts should be getting fatter. Our waistlines should be getting smaller. We should be always progressing in our career, always progressing in our relationships. Things should always progressively be getting better. But what if that's not the reality of life? What if life is full of uncertainty? What if life has twists and turns and curveballs and ups and downs, and that's all part of it, and that's all normal, and there's nothing to be ashamed of when life is going the way life goes for most of us, which is up and down and sideways at all different times? That's entirely normal. This idea that, our body once peaked and it's progressively gotten worse, or that we're always comparing ourselves to the highlight of our lives 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. We need to recognize that life goes in all of these different seasons. Some seasons of life, you may have more time. Say when you were younger, maybe you had more time and less responsibility, more time to go to the gym, more time to focus on nutrition. As you get older, you have more responsibilities. You start a family. You have kids to worry about. You have finances. You have bills, you have businesses, you have careers, you have so many different things that you're juggling, and your life is going to unfold in different seasons. And instead of comparing yourself to your past self or to somebody else, if you can focus on, and this is such a powerful shift, and I would really encourage you to take this one with you, because this has really helped me fight the feelings of depression and anxiety when I start to get into comparing myself to others or comparing myself to where I used to be. And I don't do that so much anymore with my body, but I do that in other aspects of my life. But instead of getting sucked into comparison, if I'm going through a challenging season of life, instead of getting discouraged, I seek meaning. What is the meaning? What is the purpose of this season of my life? What is the character development that I'm going through? And I try and be thankful, even in the pain, even in the uncertainty, even in the challenge that I'm facing. I try and seek meaning, because I know as I seek meaning, I will be able to grow through it, and it'll actually be a very beautiful and productive time of my life, even if it isn't pleasant, even if it isn't joyful, even if it isn't the most light and happy and easy. But that's not life, right? Life is to be human means to experience the full spectrum of human emotion. And sometimes it's grief, and sometimes it's challenge, and sometimes, a lot of times it's uncertainty, and a lot of times it's pain, and a lot of times it's frustration. But in those seasons of your life, when you're getting sucked into comparing when life was better or happier, or you had more money, or your body looked different, or look at this person over here and their body and their relationship and their marriage, instead of that, focus on what is the meaning of what I'm going through right now. What's the meaning? What's the lesson? What's the character development? What's the purpose of this? What is this teaching me? What is this shaping within me? What is this growing inside of me? And in seeking meaning, we find fulfillment. And fulfillment, deep, rich meaning and fulfillment, I would say, is better to have. That feeling is better to have than happiness. Happiness is beautiful. And of course, we all want it. But meaning and purpose and understanding growth and evolution, and that it's not always happy, but sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's scary, but there's meaning and there's purpose and there's fulfillment in that. I think that is such a beautiful part of what it means to be human. And I think we can have so much gratitude for those experiences when we choose to seek the meaning in the uncertainty or in the challenge or in the frustration of maybe the current season or a certain season of our life. So again, instead of getting sucked into comparing yourself to where you once were, or comparing your body or yourself to another person's body or where they're at in life, what is the purpose of the season of life that you're in? Now, tip number 5, stop focusing on your body and start focusing on your energy. Your energy is the very first thing that introduces you when you walk in a room. It's the thing that attracts people to you and repels people from you. It's a thing that creates this magnetic field around you. Your energy is truly everything. It's what opens up doors for you, brings opportunities your way. It's what keeps opportunities from being presented to you. Your energy is what draws people into you, is what causes people to be engaged in you, to want to know you more, to be intrigued by you. When you think about the people you enjoy spending time with, I guarantee it's not because of what the number on their scale says. You enjoy being around certain people because of the way that they make you feel, and the way they make you feel is a result of the energy that they embody. So consider the type of people you enjoy being around. What is it about their energy? What is it about who they are, the energy that they give out that you enjoy, and what do you want to practice cultivating within you? What do you want to practice embodying? I think so much of our body comparison, so much of the reason we get sucked into comparing our past body or our bodies with others is because we feel like it's the thing that allows us to either connect with certain people, or it's a thing that prevents us from connecting and having the types of relationships and the type of deep, meaningful experiences that we want to have. We begin to blame our body, but the reality is a lot of us lack interpersonal relationship skills, emotional coping skills, emotional intelligent skills to understand how to connect and create deep interpersonal relationships and conversations and connection in a way that feels nourishing to our soul. And so then our body becomes the thing that we blame. And so instead of blaming our body, let's look to what type of interpersonal relationship skills can I practice developing and cultivating within myself so that I can connect with people in deep and meaningful ways, regardless of the body I'm in. Because I can promise you one thing, your body will continue to change over the years, and as you age, it's just a fact of life. And the more we can accept that, and the more we can come to peace with that, the more rich and meaningful life we can have. And if we focus on the right things, I think we can experience the things that we're longing to experience, that we think having a certain size or shape body is going to give us. So focusing on what is the energy that I want to create. And the way that I do this is I look to the people around me and the energy that they embody that I really like, and the energies that some people embody that I don't like. For example, one of my friends who's wild and crazy and fun and spontaneous, he's the life of the party. He is off the wall. He says the craziest things that catch you off guard. Like when he's around, it's a good time. When he's there, people are laughing. He's just that type of guy. A couple of years ago, he moved to Italy, and I remember having a conversation with my husband, and we were talking about, man, with him gone, like that's a big element of what brings so much joy and levity and laughter and fun and energy to our group. My husband and I said, you know what? We're going to take it upon ourselves. We're going to challenge ourselves. Instead of being so laid back and letting him, kind of carry the party and carry the joy and the energy, we're going to do our best to try and cultivate that when we're in social settings, because through intentionality, we believe that we could. And it's been really cool because over the last 2 years, we've done that and we've created new friendships. And I think we've attracted those by being intentional with cultivating a certain type of energy that's fun, that's light, that's life-giving. That's a type of energy we want to bring. And recently, I've been reflecting on just how different my life is since focusing on cultivating a different energy within and getting out of the comparison traps and the comparison loop. When I am focused on my own energy, when I'm focused on creating groundedness and calmness and peace inside of me, I attract that because we feed off of each other's energy. When I'm activated, when I'm anxious, when I'm caught in comparing myself to others, it activates and creates anxiety in other people that repels them from me. And I think we often get caught in these loops of comparing our body to our former bodies or to other people's bodies because we feel disconnected from ourselves and from others, and we blame our body. And what it really is we just lack interpersonal relationship skills and emotional intelligence that creates the deep connection that our soul is longing for. And so if we learn to focus on the right things, it creates connection with ourselves and connection with others that's healing. And we realize, I think when we start to connect with ourselves in a deeper way and with others in a deeper way, Why? I think that's when we really start to realize that we are actually more than a body, and that our body shape and size doesn't determine our quality of life. I think that's pretty profound, but we have to be willing to focus on the right things and to cultivate that energy within that we want to experience. I promise you, your energy is absolutely everything. It's what attracts and or repels people. So the more you focus on cultivating the energy you want through intentionality, it is a pretty profound experience. It's challenging. It's a discipline, but it's a beautiful thing when we choose to focus on it. The other day, a friend invited my husband and I over for dinner, and I texted her back and I said, "What can we bring?" And she said, "Good energy." And on my drive over there, I thought about how do I walk in that front door with the best energy I possibly can. And I knew what that meant was I needed to let go of the things I was stressed about, the things I felt disappointed in that I didn't get done on my to-do list for the day. I needed to just let go, and I needed to be present. I needed to be fully there. I needed to walk in. I wanted to walk in with a spirit of groundedness, a spirit of calmness, a spirit of I'm present, I'm here, and I'm grateful to be here in this moment. And I'm going to be fully here. I'm not going to have half my mind thinking about my to-do list or half of my mind going down the trap of comparison. I'm going to be fully here in the present and grateful for the moment, because life really is short and all we have is the moment. And I think the older we get, the faster life seems to go. Life is really short. And I hope that you'll pause to wrap your mind around the fact that you get one shot to be here now in the present. And instead of dwelling on comparing your past body or comparing yourself to others, if you can just be present and be grateful for the moment that you're given, because it's all you're given and we're not promised anything else. The ability to mentally reframe is so powerful. And I know it's challenging, but I'm grateful that we're on this journey together of learning and of growing. Thank you for listening today. I hope something was helpful and something was supportive. These are tips that have helped me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. It'd mean so much if you would tag me, share this episode on social media, or leave a review on the podcast. It's totally free to do that. I read every single one, and it helps the podcast expand its reach. So thank you for being the best part of the show, for being a listener. I am all ears. Would love to hear what you want to hear on the show. Send me a message on Instagram, and we can connect there. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.